Surrounded by icy waters and deadly currents, Alcatraz was once a harsh and unforgiving prison.
Prisoner's worst nightmare was to come to Alcatraz.
This was the end of the line for the federal prisoner. Nail the lead shut on them and let them rot on Alcatraz. There's no escape.
Its concrete and steel walls imprisoned some of America's most notorious criminals, like Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and Robert Stroud, better known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. But in June 1962, 3 inconspicuous inmates outside the cell house walls brought the iconic penitentiary even more notoriety. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, escaped from their cells and vanished from the island.
I stepped up to the cell and they had the dummy head in there, and it was so real. They even had real hair.
Whistle and the sirens blew.
An investigation revealed an extraordinary escape plan that all started with an ordinary spoon.
They just spooned themselves out, chip, chip, chip. It's crude, but it works for you. And it took them a long, long time to do this.
And getting into the utility corridor behind the cells and then climbing to the rooftop and using water pipes to slide off the rooftop. And once they were off the roof, they entered the water and took off into the night, never to be seen again. Do I think that they made it? And the answer is no.
I don't know, it's very doubtful to me.
Jumping in that cold bay, panic-stricken, 2 o'clock in the morning, no.
No, I don't think they made it. I think they drowned. There was a Norwegian freighter going out underneath the Golden Gate Bridge that night, and he called the Coast Guard and reported seeing a body floating dressed in prison garb.
The body was never recovered.
The escape triggered the greatest manhunt in San Francisco's history.
And despite the strong belief that the men had drowned, a shadow of doubt remained. And just a few days after the escape, that doubt was confirmed.
FBI got a postcard saying, ha ha ha, we made it. Anybody could have sent that postcard.
55 years later, the investigation is still underway. U.S. Marshal Michael Dyke has spent more than a decade following up on over 250 leads. And Dyke shared his insight on whether the men could have survived the frigid waters of San Francisco Bay.
I've had hypothermia models done, and each one of them could have had at least 2 hours of functional time in the water if they were in the water the whole time. The other possibility is they had a raft.
Morris and the Anglin brothers reportedly assembled a raft and life jackets using an article from Popular Mechanics magazine.
After reviewing the FBI file, there's a couple pieces of information I came across. One of them was a teletype that basically said that there was a raft found on Angel Island that was believed to be used by the escapees. Whatever happened to that raft is yet to be determined.
Dyke also discussed a theory reported from a fellow inmate, Alan West. West claimed that the men were headed to Angel Island.
Angel Island at the time was a Nike missile base, an Army base, and there were supposedly boats there that they assumed that they would be able to get a hold of one of the boats and get to the mainland Marin County. There was a report of a car stolen in Marin County that was seen driving through Stanislaus County. They thought it could have been all 3 of the escapees heading east. There's limited information regarding that. Police departments don't keep information that I could go back to now.
And then in 2015, this photo surfaced, possibly the biggest clue to date.
A photo of 2 men in Brazil that appeared that they were the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence Anglin.
After a thorough investigation, it was revealed that it was highly unlikely that either of the men in the photograph was an Anglin brother. But for Dyke, this case is far from closed.
The Marshal Service doesn't stop looking for any criminal until we either prove them dead or find them.
If the men were still alive today, they might look like these age-enhanced photographs. Dead or alive, one thing's for certain, this mystery continues.